Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us on the Thursday Night Hockey Show. And for the first time all season, we have guest hosts. First, Dan, the man, Fishman.
What's up, Dave?
How much, man?
I am ready to talk some hockey. I'm ready
Let's
to
talk some
process
hockey.
my unfortunate loss. But I'm still representing.
Yeah. And joining us as well, your brother.
Hey, what's up,
Jeremy?
You are muted, Jeremy. Somehow. It's pretty good. If you look in the top left, that's going to be my guess where the little clock, the lock is. If click on that and see if it says that your microphone is allowed to access this website. Yep, we still can't hear you. Look at the settings down at the bottom right. There's a little gear. Click settings, and under audio, it should say what your audio input is. Wait, no, say that again, Jer.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. We're cooking.
All right.
Now we're cooking with fuel.
Sorry about that. Technology
no worries,
is not
man.
my forte.
That's all right. But hockey is your forte.
Yeah, kind of.
Well, I think that you should briefly introduce people and talk about your hockey playing career.
Oh, all right. So I started playing hockey when I was about 32 years old, and which is kind of late to try and break into the NHL. I never made it, but I really enjoyed it a lot. I played until I was about 45, and I dislocated my elbow, and it kind of stopped after that. Although I hear that there are over 50 leagues which are a little more gentle, and they don't have all these 19-year-olds like buzzing around the ice and stuff. So that probably would be better. So I may try to get back into it. I really enjoy the sport. I think it's a very intellectual game. I mean, I don't think that. I know that. It is a very intellectual game. You have to know not where you need to be right now, but where you need to be in about 3 seconds. So you're constantly thinking, you're constantly adjusting, and you're playing on a frictionless surface. And sometimes you have to fight. So it's an all around, that's probably the best and most difficult sport and most difficult championship trophy to win in all sports, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, as Dan is playing a Buffalo Sabres game, we also know that you're not only playing on a frictionless surface, but you're also playing with 2 deadly blades on the bottom of your feet at the same time. And Buffalo twice has had players damn near die on the ice due to jugulars being cut.
Right in the neck.
Clint Malarchuk and Richard Zednik.
Yeah, the Zednik one is the classic because you see the blood bounce off the ice, which I had heard.
Oh yeah, there's like this. There's streaks going from where you got cut all the way to the bench, and they had to delay the game several minutes after that to clean off the ice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was frightening.
Well, and I will also say that Jeremy didn't mention his best injury, which
the shattered ankle?
Yes.
Guys, if you play hockey, do not check someone into the boards from behind when they are already falling down. Like, there's no need. They're already going down. So I lost my skates. I was falling down, and a dude went ahead and finished his check while I was on my knees, and then slammed and basically shattered my ankle, and I was pretty much off my skates for about 6 weeks. Not fun. However, I will say this. My brother gave me some fantastic advice. If you're going to be on crutches for more than a few weeks, definitely get forearm crutches. They're so much better than regular crutches.
Yeah. Yep, I did 12
regular crutches
with my ruptured Achilles tendon. Now, I don't know where you want to start, Dave, but you had some good show notes. So,
yeah. So let's get into tonight's game. So let's talk. Actually, we got some comments. Hold on a second. Emma says, "Is this you could choose any celebrity to get tickled? Get tickled? Who would be?"
Well,
That is a question right there.
That's from Discord, right? Or is that from Twitch?
Twitch.
Twitch. Yeah. So I will tell you, Emma, I watched Gretzky and Bill Burr on Boston Sports Guy. I can't think of his name right now. Any Given Wednesday. And God, how can I not think of his name? Anyway, and it was funny because Bill Burr's always funny, but in this case, he's like they're having conversation, and the moderators asked him. He's like, "Oh, people are talking about what can we do to take NHL to the same level as the NBA? How do we get it that popular?" And Gretzky's got some stuff. He's like, we've really increased the popularity of the game. He's like, when I played, it was very common that there weren't full arenas, and even in Canada, and Bill Burr says, like, we don't want to increase, that they want to increase the popularity of the game. They want to take fighting out of the game. Hockey is a game where you have to have fighting, because otherwise they're a bunch of dicks who will hurt your stars and knock them over and stuff like that. And there has to be an enforcer out there. If we let them take it over, it's going to be like, the NFL, where everybody wears pink for a month and Katy Perry sings the national anthem. And Gretzky said, I don't think the Bruins would ever wear pink.
It seems unlikely, but surely there's another color we can use to support breast cancer.
Yes, it could be.
I mean, I'm all in sport of breasts. So
yeah, absolutely. Keep the breasts.
Yes. So
that's right.
My celebrity who I want to see tickled is Wayne Gretzky.
Huh.
So are we limited to hockey celebrities here, or can we just be any celebrity?
It can be anybody you want.
Go for it.
Oh, anybody what? I would like to see Donald Trump get his ass tickled.
Well, ass tickling is a special kind of tickling. So.
I would want to be the tickler, and it would be Christina Hendricks. But that's me.
She makes a very.
I didn't know we could be the tickler.
So Justin Bieber.
I'm withdrawing Donald Trump.
Yeah, if you're the tickler, I wouldn't want to tickle Donald Trump. That's
actually, I have no desire to tickle Wayne Gretzky either. And it was interesting because in that same thing where Bill Burr was saying, I don't want to get rid of the fighting, Gretzky said, he's like, I don't want to get rid of the fighting. He's like, but I never wanted to be in the fights either. So.
Well, I mean, he's an elite player. He's an elite player. Elite players don't get in fights.
Well, what's interesting,
I mean, look at Stamkos and Austin Matthews this last playoff round.
Okay, good point. Yeah,
they got into a fight. That was a nice little tussle. It wasn't like a knockdown drag out. It was decent.
And don't tell me Marchand's not an elite player.
All right, fair enough.
But Marchand doesn't fight.
He starts a lot of fights.
He is what they call a shift disturber.
Yes.
When it comes to hockey. So,
all right, let's talk about games tonight.
Yeah, so tonight's games we've got the Panthers at Leafs at 7:00. The Panthers lead that series 1-0.
Yep.
And then at 9:30, 9:30 we've got the Kraken and the Stars. Kraken lead that series 1-0 as well. And we'll talk about those series as we get down. But let's go ahead and start talking about the playoff series that just concluded this past week. And we'll get the bad one out of the way for both of you.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Florida Panthers beating the Boston Bruins in 7.
Excuse me just a second. I've got to go pee and then throw up, and because the information is not pleasing.
Yeah, that's our governor.
That's the governor of West Virginia.
Governor of West Virginia, who's going to be your problem soon because he's running for U.S. Senate. So
interesting. Well, first of all, let's talk about the fact that it's so incredibly rare for a team to come back from 3-1. The Bruins actually have done it once as well. Yeah. Not that long ago in a series against the
Maple Leafs,
the Flyers.
Flyers.
Yeah, against the Flyers. But
I thought that was 3-0.
Yeah, it was 3-0. You're right.
I thought the Bruins came back from the Maple Leafs on 3-1 though.
You're right. That's exactly it. So I mean, it happens. I did think that Swayman should have been in Game 5 because Omar got knocked over in Game 4, right? I mean, he got, even though it wasn't a terrible game for him, he needed a break then. But, Game 5 wasn't great. Game 6 and Game 7 were unbelievable hockey.
Yeah.
So as much as I want to bitch about that, they were great games. The President's Trophy curse. I was talking about this with, I got a bunch of Bruins friends, and a lot of them said, you know what? If the Bruins had won this series, that was the wake-up call they would have needed, and they would have gone all the way through. Because there were times where they just played unbelievably good hockey. There were a couple goals there, like one of Pasternak's goals was just unbelievable. But, there's no question there was a lot of terrible play, a lot of clears that didn't happen. A lot of times, go ahead, Jer.
Well, I think that I hate to like use a cliche, but it came down to defense. I mean, the offense was certainly on point, and there was a lot of remarkable plays. But I saw a lot of not clearing the puck. I saw a lot of like stuck in the defensive zone and not being able to just like get the puck and get it out.
Yeah.
Like it just seemed like the Bruins were not looking like the Bruins all season long.
Right.
I've been watching them, and their defense has been fine. And all of a sudden it broke down. I don't know why. I can't explain it. But
here's where I might be able to explain it for you all. Florida has been playing playoff hockey for a month and a half, like playoff playing for their lives for a month and a half. They've had their game at that level for a month and a half. Boston has been, ran away with everything. They're done and dusted by January. Still playing great hockey throughout the regular season, but again, once you get to the playoffs, it's a whole different beast. And things that look great during the regular season because maybe that game didn't mean as much to the other team or whatever. When it gets to the playoffs, you've got 7 games to get through a series. I think Florida was just ready, and you saw it in Game 1 against Toronto that Florida's their forecheck and their ability to disrupt a really good offense is amazing.
Yeah, I mean that was the key. Is that the forechecking was really important, and I agree. The defense struggled. There were times that I'm like, why is this guy camping out on the crease? Okay, you got to be able. Okay, you got to clear the crease, and I don't care if I kept thinking to myself, you know what? Tim Thomas was there. He'd be poking that guy in the back of his knee with his stick.
Well, I was going to say, can't Linus Ullmark like give him like a little shove or get him out of the crease?
He's 6'5". That's exactly what he should be doing. Should be bumping these guys over. But whatever happened, I agree with John. Florida just, I mean, there's no question in my mind they wanted it more. And
I have to agree with John as well. I mean, so Ullmark with his experience, I mean, no goalie without at least 20 or 30 playoff games under their belt already is going to go to the Stanley Cup. Well, okay, Marc-Andre Fleury accepted, but he also had a lot of help. But I think most goalies with only 2 or 3 playoff games, they're not going to go to the Stanley Cup. And I mean, it's all about defense and goalies.
Yeah,
that's a personal opinion, but I mean, you got to have a veteran goalie.
I mean, there are right. I am a firm believer that there are every now and then teams where the goalie stands on their heads, and I don't want to start this off, but back in the day, Jeremy was a huge Stars fan when he lived in Dallas.
Season tickets.
Yep, and when the Stars played the Sabres, Hasek was.
Oh, are you bringing this up? Are you seriously? So you're talking about Belfour and Hasek? I mean, okay, all right. So we're going to talk about this. It was a legal goal.
Not at the time.
Well,
it is now.
Right. Here's the important thing to remember is that there are times when a goalie can stand on his head and win a series. And Hasek, it wasn't the Stanley Cup that was his best series. His best series was the Olympic gold medal when he defeated Canada, Russia, and the United States.
There's still that one save that he made against Eric Lindros in the shootout that, he flipped his, don't fall over there, Dan.
Yeah, don't break the Blantons.
He flipped his glove back and just tip the puck away. I mean, Blindress hadn't beat dead to right, and just that flip. And I lost my mind when I saw that. I was like, that's just no human should make that save.
Yeah. So I don't think we've had great goaltending like that in a while in a Stanley Cup game. But well, there was who was the goalie for Vancouver when the Bruins beat them?
Luongo.
Yeah, he had a stretch where he was really strong. But
yeah, who do you think is the best goaltender remaining? Maybe Ottinger.
Dallas. I mean, who's in Dallas?
Yeah, Ottinger.
Yeah, Ottinger is very good.
Yeah, except for he got lit up game one.
Okay, so one game.
Yeah,
also, the Kraken are amazing on the road. They suck at home.
Yeah, Ottinger, I mean, he put in a performance, even though in the loss last year in Game 7 against Calgary, that there is no way that they should have been anywhere near overtime in that game. And it was just the fact that Dallas couldn't get the puck out of their own zone, and eventually they wore him down to get the game winner. But yeah, it's I would say he's probably the best one they've got left. I don't trust Brossoit. I don't trust whoever they're going to put it. I mean, Bobrovsky's had his stretches.
So I guess the message here is bet on the over, kids.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that. Actually, that is the interesting thing about this playoffs is that defense may win championships, but game one we had 7.75 goals per game in all the game ones of round two. And that's above the season average of 3.14. Very good for Pie. And
the Bruins set another record for most goals scored in a playoff series.
Yeah, they did. They did outscore,
and they lost.
And they lost. Yeah, but the 3.17 is kind of the playoff average right now. But I don't know if any defense is going to step up.
It's interesting. I mean, there is to a certain extent,
there's the brawl
ties. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Nice. Sabres versus Ottawa. What happens after this is probably one of the best line brawls I've ever seen.
Yeah. So there is a, going back to the Gretzky Bill Burr thing, there definitely is a desire to increase scoring in the NHL. And, they've tried to make some things around it, the 4-on-4, stuff like that. There's only so much that you can do, but it is interesting to think that, especially if you were a gambler, that the field may not be ready for this yet. And so betting the over, watching the line, watching it move might be a smarter bet. I will also say that, the strategy.
Can you clarify? What do you mean watching the line?
So the over-under line moves based on how people are betting.
Well, are you sure it's pari-mutuel? Because
they all are. Trust me, the casinos don't want to get stuck. So what they want is to have 50-50 either way.
Okay,
that's their ideal thing because they take a vig. They don't want to pay out a big loss. So it's not that it's pari-mutuel. It's if you make your bet, you get your bet at that number.
Yes.
So if you make your bet at 6.5, then it's 6.5. But let's just say you bet $100 million at 6.5. That's going to move it to 7,
which I've done.
Sure. Well, there are a few famous betting stories like that. The very first really good horse handicapping program, they had to run it in Hong Kong at the Jockey Club because it was the only place with the investors they had that they could bet $1 million and not significantly move the line. And in pari-mutuel, you get whatever the horses go off at. You don't get the bet that you make the bet at. So if you move the line in pari-mutuel, horse racing, what most people know it as, then it is whatever it is. But in a sports game with the line, you get the bet at whatever you make it at. So if you think the late money is going to go on the under, then you wait until it keeps moving down, and then you get really hopefully you get an easier over.
This
Okay,
is why I don't bet, though. I'm so bad at predicting that I'm just
Well, so the one other thing I'll say is that, and I don't know that this opportunity is going to show up. Oh, here go the goalies.
yeah. Marty Biron get his ass kicked in this one.
He does.
You can't fight Ray Emery. Rest in peace, Ray Emery.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Although he's smiling there, they're both kind of
Oh
smiling.
yeah, they're both smiling. Like a goalie fight, 90% of the punches just land on the pads anyway. And
when I was playing hockey,
Oh!
we always agreed. We would always agree to fight, and we loved it. So, like, you would never fight someone who didn't want to fight. It's like you kind of look them in the eye, like, you want to go, and everybody's like either no or yeah. And if you fight, then it's fun because you like it. You don't fight if you don't want to, and no one would engage you in a fight if you didn't want to.
Right.
It's
Now,
a way to get on TV. It's great.
but it should be said that's not necessarily true in the NHL.
Okay.
I remember seeing.
Yeah, but if you in the NHL, if you fight someone who doesn't want to fight, the enforcer is going to come and get you.
Well, I remember seeing.
I remember seeing Ray Emery do that to Braden Holtby, and just ragdolling Braden Holtby. Braden Holtby was rather clear he didn't want to fight, and Ray Emery beat the fool out
I
of him.
remember somebody beating up Teemu Solani. I can't remember who the hell it was, but I mean Solani, right?
Yeah,
Teemu Solani. That's like beating up a cat. I mean, what's the point?
Exactly. Well, the point was that he was scoring like crazy.
All right.
Yeah, and like he'd put in 4 goals, and the guy just like, all right, that's enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All showing us up.
Yeah, exactly.
But
so I mean, it is one of those things.
Well, here's the burning question I have for this series. What does Boston look like next year?
I mean, there's no way that
does Krejci and Bergeron come back?
I don't think so. And if there's a silver,
you don't think Bergeron comes back?
I mean,
he's older than you are. It's Patrice Bergeron.
He wants to play in the 50+ league.
There's no room.
Maybe, but I mean, for sure, Krejci doesn't come back, right? And I think the silver lining the Bruins can take is that they were clearly better in games 1 through 4 when Krejci and Bergeron didn't play. So, I mean, here's the thing, right?
That doesn't necessarily correlate.
Well, it's a little bit, but you know what? If you were to ask me who's the Bruins player who looked the best, all right, probably Marchand, but Taylor Hall looked great. And consider the fact Bertuzzi looked great too. And I mean, the second, third, and fourth lines looked great, and Pastrnak looked great too. Yeah. But somebody else, I'm trying to remember who the hell it was. Anyway, the Bruins have got a bright future. This is a good team. Coach is good, stuff like that. This is a huge disappointment, but hopefully it's the disappointment that they come back from. As we talked about Tampa.
Yeah, with Tampa. When Tampa lost I mean, there are so many parallels between the Tampa Columbus series and this series with Florida, and that Bob Roski was the goaltender in that series, and
exactly
Bill Zito was one of the GMs, and I would say that it could be the impetus. The only issue that I would have with Boston is, are they going to be able to retain? I mean, Krejci was making some decent money, but they would probably need both Bergeron and Krejci to retire to be able to retain guys like Tyler Bertuzzi and those folks that they brought in at the deadline to keep the team together.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is
anyone in a contract here? I mean,
the guys who came in at the end, God, I can't think of his name now. I can't believe I'm blanking.
Garrett Hathaway and what's the guy on defense, the other defensive player, Orlov. Was it Orlov?
Orlov, yeah, Orlov. I mean, Orlov. If you had to let Orlov go, and I honestly, at one point in time, I was thinking during Game 7, you know what? If Char's in the crowd, I want to bring him down here because he won't put up with that shit on the crease. But Orlov played great, had a nice goal, but I don't consider him irreplaceable.
You guys have a ton of players on UFA right now. Nick Foligno, Patrice Bergeron, Tyler Bertuzzi, Thomas Noshek, Garnet
Oh.
Hathaway, Trent
Noshek played well.
Frederick, and David Krejci on the forward ranks, and Orlov and Connor Clifton on the defensive core.
Oh, okay. All right.
Foligno-
Good. Good
Foligno is
information.
good. I
Thank
would
you.
keep him. Foligno, I would think, would be pretty cheap, relatively speaking.
He's 3.8 now.
Yeah. I mean, that's not cheap, but and you
And the
gotta let
Pats only went up $1 million.
yeah. I mean, you gotta let Krejci go. It just doesn't make any sense anymore.
Yeah, but
Bergeron? Huh?
Bergeron? I mean, you really.
I don't know. I mean, if Bergeron,
Bergeron only made 2.5 this year.
well, so that's not bad.
I think you can get him on a cap friendly number.
Yeah, I think so. And because he still wants to win one more championship. And I, like I said, I really do think, right? Taylor Hall was MVP of the league 3 years ago. Okay, that guy.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and then he stole money from Buffalo.
All right. So I have an idea.
Stole money.
Let's moneyball this. What is the price per goal? What salary are you willing to put in for someone who scores, let's say, a point a game?
Well, all right. So Pasternak had 62 goals, 61 goals. He finished just behind.
Over 100 points. He was over a point a game player.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And he's still around. So you've got pretty good offense. You just need the rest of the guys. You got to keep Marchand, right? Because, if Marchand
he's under contract.
were on any other team, I would hate him so much. So
you got
just
two more
because of the
seasons left.
shorties.
exactly.
Like, stop making shorties.
Right. Right. And you're right. His contract isn't up, all that stuff. But so you think about, the nucleus of the team is there. Free agents, I like Foligno. I can't believe you said he's making 3.8?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I think he got that contract from Columbus originally. Or maybe no. I think he got it from Boston because he moved to Toronto at the trade deadline a few years ago and then signed with Boston in the offseason. So that was a Boston contract.
Wow, that's crazy money.
Yeah, it's that whole intangible leadership thing, which really wasn't a need in Boston. He's a good third line guy.
I would let him go at 3.8.
Yeah.
But it'll be
Yeah,
interesting.
that's
I think
if you're playing Moneyball, you got to do points per game and how much do you make? And 3.8 for how many points per game?
Especially when Pasternak's contract's going up to $11 million next year. So
Oh, that's painful.
well, but
Yeah.
but if you're saying points per goal, he's still worth it.
oh no, he's worth it.
Points-
It just remember
A lot of money.
the players like that
I mean,
are taking up more than a tenth of your cap. So
if we're going to moneyball it, the thing is, none of those guys get on base. So
They're playing the wrong game.
damn it, that's why it didn't work.
Right.
All
what?
right, so let's.
I think Jeremy
let's
has
move on to
strong
the-
feelings about the Avalanche series as well.
Yeah.
Well,
Denver.
I mean,
that
okay,
wasn't-
all right. So I think that, this is not the Stanley Cup team obviously.
Oh no.
You lose both goalies. You don't have Gabriel Landeskog. So, obviously it's a completely different team, but I do feel as though we could have beaten the Kraken. It's just that I don't think that the energy and that somehow, I don't know what happened. At least we took it to 7 games. That's all I can say. It's very disappointing. The thing about the series anytime, for example, when the Rockies are playing the Red Sox or, anything, it's always right about the time when the seasons are changing. And so it's hard to get people really excited about hockey when they're about to start mountain biking. So
you're
the
blaming
mood
it on
in Denver was like, oh, shucks, let's go do something.
So what you're doing, essentially you're blaming the loss on legal weed in Colorado.
Yes, that is exactly what I'm saying. Yeah,
So
that's exactly.
It would help me cope. If I was having an issue with the loss, but
This is the problem. This is the problem. We need to stop doing this and focus on hockey.
just to clarify for the YouTube censor feed, that's parsley.
That's
Um,
oregano.
That is totally parsley. Yeah, it was basil and parsley. Yeah.
but coming out of Game 6, the Avs scored like crazy, and I'm like, oh, they've got the momentum. And then,
But the problem with the Avs this entire series is they couldn't. They were always playing from behind.
Yeah.
Like the Kraken got the first goal in every game.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're able to come back and get the wins in 3 of the games, but they just could not overcome
Well,
the 2-goal
so-
deficit in Game 7.
the Kraken incredibly demoralizing because they are amazing on the road. All season long, they've been amazing on the road. Who was the first team that beat Boston at home after an
At home, yeah.
incredible home streak?
In regulation. Yeah.
The Kraken. The Kraken are astonishing on the road. They're not great at home, but they are amazing on the road. Case in point, this current series. But they're not that great at home, but it is incredibly demoralizing to lose Game 1. And that affects the whole series. All of a sudden, you've lost home field or home ice advantage.
right.
So, that's like a huge thing. And the Kraken are very good at winning on the road. That's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they never stop. They play the whole 60 minutes. They are very good at coming out with this incredible speed and power, and they get scoring from not one particular guy. All over the place, these guys are scoring. They don't have a superstar. Their whole team is a superstar.
Well, hang on. Jaden
All right, go
Schwartz. Jaden Schwartz, best Jewish player in the NHL.
All right.
May the Schwartz be with you.
Yeah, exactly. He's probably
Dad's not watching. You don't have to play the 2 card.
all right.
But the question I have for the Avs going forward is much like I have with Boston. Gabriel Landeskog was out the entire season, had the knee surgery,
Yeah.
and just never came back. And at one point during the season, Jared Bednar said that we may never see him again, or at least he won't be the player he was before he got the knee injury. So I'm wondering exactly what happened with that knee injury and why it took so long for him to recover from this one, because surgeries tend to be getting shorter nowadays than they were 15 years ago. Like if a guy got a knee injury in the Stanley Cup playoffs, you could count on him missing the next season. Now, you're seeing guys coming back over the summer break. It's really interesting to see what was the injury that knocked him out.
Yeah, I don't think a cortisone shot is going to fix this one. They're being very closed mouth about it. The Denver Post basically said out indefinitely, and that was in September. And it turns out that was true. I don't know if he's ever going to play hockey again. There are a lot of rumors going around Denver. Obviously, he's a critical component to a Stanley Cup team, but there's a lot of rumors, and couldn't say anything concisely,
sad
but the rumors are basically that he's probably not going to play again, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, it's sad
because
that
he's a great skater.
Because, him with McKinnon and Rantanen was one of the best lines in hockey.
Yeah.
If it is it for him, who do they bring up to? And they're another team that has a bunch of UFAs coming off the books, and it's all the midline guys like JT Compher and Evan Rodriguez and guys that they needed in the middle of the lineup to pick up the scoring that they lost when Nazem Kadri walked and last year.
Yeah, and both the goalies. But so Evan Rodriguez has been a really fantastic surprise this year, and it's unfortunate that he's going to be negotiating. But I think that what we're looking at here is basically we started off with a Stanley Cup hangover and just never got over it. Then serious injuries throughout December and January. And I think what we're looking at, and I hate to say this word because this word probably should not exist in professional sports, but I think we're starting to look at rebuilding. And I hate that because
it's hard to think about that with a lineup with a guy like Cale Makar and Bowen Byram and Nathan McKinnon.
But I think
we're going to middle of the lineup. You got to replace it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
The
But-
thing that guarantees you're going to lose, though, is when you hang on to the old guys that really don't fit your new strategy anymore. I don't know what
Kale
that
and
new
Golem are-
strategy is, but I mean, the thing is, the series did go 7 games, and the Kraken, like, they feed off of emotional stuff. Like, they were talking about it, in the Stars game, right? Pavelski scores 4 goals, and the Kraken still win.
Yeah.
Right? That's such an emotional lift to beat a guy having that much of a great game because your team played better. And that's going to feed them. I think they're going to win this series too because of that first win. And
That'd be crazy. We'll talk about that series in a minute, but
okay.
because
Sorry.
there are 2 4-goal efforts that did not result in wins in game 1. So, but yeah, let's move on to the Leafs finally breaking through the first round curse.
Voldemort, you mean?
I always said that the Leafs were like a bad bar date because they'd be done after 1 round, but
Yeah.
they finally beat the curse. They finally beat the Lightning in 6 games. I think for this series, it was the fact that the Lightning have played almost an additional season worth of games in the playoffs over the last 3 seasons. They've played the last game of the last 3 seasons, whether they've lifted the cup or not.
Right.
So I think they just ran out of steam as a team.
and
Vasilevsky doesn't look good from long range shots, and even though the 3 losses that they had in Tampa to Toronto were all overtime. And they had leads late in 2 of them.
Yeah. No, I mean, I will say, for me, the most hated team in the NHL is Tampa. I really just despise them.
What are you
First of all,
kidding?
no,
Everybody hates the Red Wings
Hey,
I hate the
how can you
Leafs.
hate Titletown? How can you hate
Hate
the
the
Red
Leafs.
Wings? But
because they always win.
not
Well,
in a
not
long
this year.
time. Not a long time.
Well,
Um,
okay, all right, fine.
But Tampa has won recently. And remember that Tampa organized the NHL strike so that they would get to keep the cup for an extra year, which is just bullshit.
Oh my goodness. So and speaking of,
Not everything is a conspiracy, Daniel.
Well,
The-
I will tell you, I think you guys probably know the origin of the Stanley Cup and how it's supposed to be given to the best team in hockey.
yeah, it's not an NHL.
I really thought that during the strike year, we should have had some sort of tournament and like a great college team or the KHL team or whatever should have won it and gotten to take the Stanley Cup somewhere.
That would have been awesome.
Didn't happen.
Should have had like a beer league tournament. That would have been
Exactly.
that would have been the way to settle it. That would have been
Like-
so
I
like-
would win that.
Like the FA Cup, right? And in
Yeah.
the FA Cup, right? Your beer team gets to participate in the FA Cup. Now, chances are pretty good your beer team is not going to beat Manchester United, but you get a chance to try.
Yeah, they won't get anywhere close to Manchester United because they don't
Right.
contest the first few rounds. But
Yeah.
I mean, there's always that story of a team that's in the
Just
championship
surprisingly
or
well.
League One or whatever, and they make it all the way to like the 6th or 7th round of the tournament
Right.
through some miracle. So
Yep.
I would love to see a tournament like that in hockey. The only problem with that is that every minor league is kind of a subsidiary of a pro team.
Well, it's interesting because it has been suggested, they have the UEFA Cup in soccer, which
Yeah.
is the best clubs in Europe from the various divisions play against each other.
And they do have a CHL in Europe.
Huh?
They do have a Champions Hockey League in Europe.
Yeah, but that's not great. But it's
No.
not terrible. But it would be interesting to see, KHL hockey, I think, is pretty competitive.
It was until last year.
Yeah. And then, but if they're going to have KHL hockey, Putin's going to call all the NHL players home.
Sure.
And
Are
Is
you
there-
allowed to do that?
Civil
By the
Panarin.
way,
You won't call you Panarin home.
as long as we're talking about Russian hockey players going home, does anyone know what happened to Val Nichushkin?
I do not.
So the what I heard, and this is just from the police report, was some woman was in his hotel room extremely inebriated. I don't know if there was any untoward actions. It was just that she was
Well, shit, I've got
blistered.
one of those right here.
She's remarkably
Blistered
quiet.
and I guess caused some problems getting out of the hotel. I don't know what her relation is to Val Nichushkin, but yeah, that was a really weird story that really went quiet. Now, I'll be
Yeah, it totally went quiet. Even in Denver, no one's talking about it. No one knows what
yeah,
happened. I'm like, all right, okay. I just thought I'd throw it out there, see if you knew
and
something I didn't.
because it was in the incident happened in Seattle, right?
Yeah.
The person who filed the report was the Denver police person that was accompanying the team during the trip. So
Huh.
I guess they have a policeman escorting the team during these away trips, and he's
Apparently.
the one that did the report. And yeah, I mean, maybe it's a little home cooking that they baked it and buried it.
Okay. Well, rumors abound in Denver, but no facts as of yet.
Yeah, yeah. But
Okay.
so as far as the Leafs and the Lightning go, for the Lightning, I'm wondering if next year that they've had almost a full off season, are they going to be able to come back and be that top tier team? I haven't even looked at their. In fact, I'll check a look at their cap and see who's free agent because Tampa has historically been in cap hell.
Yeah.
Um,
I also think that, with DeSantos getting involved in the way the team works, and sorry, can't resist that.
no,
Um,
they get some decent free agents and back end free agents, the fourth liners. Alex Killorn is probably the marquee on the front line. Pierre-Edouard Belmar and Corey Perry. I wouldn't be surprised if Corey Perry hangs it up. And then Ian Cole on the back end, and then Brian Elliott, the goaltender. But still, um, they still have over $60 million committed to next season. So yeah, they're going to have to budget up a team again, or have what is his name? Who's the guy that spent all one season off?
You're
Kucherov.
going to have to be more specific.
Yeah, Nikita Kucherov when he spent the entire season before they went back to went to the Cup on the injured reserve and hidden on the contract so they could stay under the cap, and then they brought him back for the playoffs and then won the Stanley Cup. So
Oh, that's clever.
cap manipulation.
yeah.
Well,
But
yeah, definitely.
I mean,
Win
Lightning
at any cost.
Lightning had a pretty good year as it was.
yeah,
So I think that I'm sure
but
I'm sure they'll be in the playoffs next year.
I don't know.
Yeah.
They're all
Yeah, I'm
getting
not
older.
sure. I mean, that's a huge prediction. You realize you are making a prediction that is like 11 months out.
Well, all right, here, yeah, it is 11 months out, but you think about where they finished. Just looking it up, they're 46-30-6. Okay, that's not
Yeah,
bad,
they had a bad run towards the end of the season.
right?
I don't know. I think that the offseason does them some good, but again, they got to be able to manipulate their cap because as far as they don't have any first round picks the next 3 seasons, they don't have second round picks. Actually, they don't have a pick until the 6th round in this draft.
Wow.
They don't have
Or
a
did they
first or
trade
second
them
round
away
pick.
or something?
Yeah, they trade them all away.
Oh,
I
okay.
think this one was traded for Brandon Hagel, which Brandon Hagel is a serviceable player, second line player. But they got Chicago got 2 draft picks for him. So
Okay, so I saw on your agenda that you wanted to talk about Winnipeg.
yeah, so let's take a look at that Winnipeg series. Where do I have it? The Golden Knights shooting down the Jets in Game 5. So
My
what
second
is
hated
Winnipeg's
team.
identity? Yeah, what is
Yeah,
Winnipeg's
that's
identity?
an excellent question. I mean,
I think
what do their
mayonnaise
fans
might be
think their identity is? Like, I don't know. They haven't been significant since they started. What was it like? When did they come into the league?
Well, they came in as Atlanta.
No.
And
Yeah,
we
okay.
all
So,
know
right.
how that went. But in 2011, they moved to Winnipeg.
Thank you.
They
But,
are.
I mean, you have to give them the continuity of being connected with the previous Jets team because they were gone for so long that it's not like they were generational Jets players. Winnipeg has a team; they are the Jets, and they got them back for all
But
intents and purposes.
all the records stay with Arizona. I don't know why, but yeah, that's they didn't transfer the records when the Jets moved to Phoenix and came back in. So
And of course, there were no Stanley Cups to transfer. So
no, well, there were there were. There's an interesting story about the original Winnipeg Jets and how they were the most dominant team in the World Hockey Association, and just won Avco Cup after Avco Cup, heading into the merger. And the way that they did the disbursement draft after the merger, it really focused on breaking up the Winnipeg Jets. And who benefited out of that? The Edmonton Oilers. But yeah,
Interesting.
the Winnipeg Jets got really screwed moving into the NHL, and eventually it cost them the franchise.
Huh.
well, I mean, I am glad the Jets have got the team that Winnipeg got a team back. I mean,
I hate it because I lived in Atlanta at the time, but
yeah, that was the
they thrash.
Ilya.
Ilya Kovalchuk, Danny Heatley,
Danny,
Marinosa.
Oh, Danny Heatley. Yeah, I met a buddy of his, and we talked about like that horrible car crash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was
Terrible.
because I've been on that road many times.
You own a
he was
Ferrari?
Yeah, I was not in a Ferrari. He was. It was raining, and he had been drinking as well. But
Yes.
And he was going
that curve that he lost control on was, I mean, it was bad in dry, sober conditions.
Right.
On a city street, it was one of the worst curves there. So it was sad. That was kind of one of the first death knells of the franchise. The real death knell was when they had to trade Kovalchuk.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know that necessarily caused the franchise to fail. I mean,
Well, here's the problem. If the NHL had put in a fraction of the effort to keep the Thrashers in Atlanta that they have to keep the Coyotes in Arizona, the Thrashers would have been fine. The fact that the Thrashers made the playoffs one time in 11 seasons,
Yeah.
and were ousted in 4 games,
Sure.
that was, that's part of the issue. They also had a horrible ownership group. They called it the Octo Cluster. That
I mean,
was more focused on running the Hawks than they were the Thrashers.
Right.
I really do believe in this, to tie back again to this thing. The NHL sometimes is just crazy in terms of expansion. Okay. You want to make an argument that LA could have a team. Okay. 2 teams is ridiculous for LA. And then
LA always has 2 teams. They have 2 teams in football, or they did.
Basketball.
But the difference is hockey requires it to snow and freeze. And that never happens. Kids don't grow up playing hockey in LA.
But we're starting to see kids from these non-traditional markets make it to the NHL. I mean, Austin Matthews is a prime example. Grew up in Phoenix. Grew up watching the Arizona Coyotes.
Yeah.
He's now one of the top players in the league. There was a couple drafts back probably 6 or 7 years ago where it was like a Pittsburgh dominated draft where like a lot of kids that grew up in the Pittsburgh area. St. Louis has their drafts, but these are markets that we are developing now. We're probably going to see in a few years more kids coming from the Floridas, from California.
I'm just saying, if we go back to the original NHL where you can only draft players who are within 100 miles of your city, Phoenix is not going to be very good.
No.
All right. So just so you understand technology, in Dallas, before I moved out of Dallas, there were 15 hockey rinks in Dallas where you could go play.
You played in the
it's
league
all about technology. They have air conditioning. They have hockey rinks. If
Yeah.
you want to play hockey in Dallas, you can play hockey in Dallas. Case in
Yeah.
point, the Stars won the Stanley Cup. Sorry, buddy.
I think if your city can't host the Winter Classic outdoors, then you should have
Well,
an
the first
Then-
outdoor game was held in Vegas.
Daniel, do
or
you
the-
realize how much money comes from the southern markets? Dallas, Texas. Texas alone is the 11th largest economy in the world by itself as a state. You need that money for hockey. So
But-
you should have Southern hockey.
So you think Houston should have a hockey team?
I think they will have.
They
a hockey
do have a hockey team. They're called the Arrows.
Oh, the
They're
Arrows
quite
are
good.
IHL, right?
Yeah.
No. Where are they? Are they AHL?
I don't know. They're called the Arrows. I don't think they're there anymore. But anyway, yes, Houston should have a hockey team.
They
Why
will.
not?
They will have a hockey team whenever they decide to do an expansion. They've already started talking about it. 4 additional teams, which makes most sense because then it keeps the divisions equal again. But you have, I would say, as much as people are going to hate it, they're going to say Atlanta because it's the 5th largest media market in the United
Why
States.
would anyone hate that?
Uh,
It's the
'cause
best
people-
airport ever.
Because every time people will say, well, they already lost 2 teams. I get that. There's going to be a push to put one in Quebec City, which when people complain about Atlanta, Quebec City has less than 1 million people in it.
Well, and Quebec City is hard to get to.
And then
Also, they speak French.
either
Oh.
Kansas, I think Kansas City gets a team. Kansas City or Portland get a team. And probably Portland because you probably want to have some on the Pacific Northwest to go with Seattle, and then Houston to have that southern
I
bigger.
think Houston is good.
southern.
John's got an interesting comment. He said Toronto could easily support a second team.
Toronto is
They
the
will-
4th largest city in North America.
It is
Yeah,
But-
interesting.
Toronto.
Toronto
that's
teams.
great
What would
point.
the other team be called?
They'd be in Hamilton. Yeah, just like
But-
No. What would they be called? What would their mascot be? Like, what would their like
They
the
would be
second Toronto team? What would they be called?
the maple syrups. um,
The
the
pancakes?
yeah,
Maple Leafs. Toronto. Nature's toilet paper.
Oh, I've got it. The
What?
Mounties.
The Mounties.
Mounties isn't a bad name.
Yeah.
That's not bad. No.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the objection is both Buffalo and Toronto would move to block a second team in the Toronto area,
Yeah,
just because of the draw from the fan base. That's why they fought so hard against the Jim Balsillie, the old BlackBerry owner, who
Right.
tried to move Nashville and Arizona to Hamilton.
What the heck is BlackBerry?
Oh, the old crackberry.
yeah. I was thinking about that too. That's in Waterloo. I mean, if you're going to put one in another Canadian city, why not Yellowknife? Population
There's like 20,000 people there.
exactly,
Hey, let's put a team in Sault Ste. Marie.
but it's the real Canada.
What about Moose Jaw? I mean, they've got a
Moose Jaw would be good.
Moose Jaw would be good.
Yeah.
Regina.
Nice.
All the jokes that would happen with Regina.
Exactly. Shove it in your Regina.
Sketch needs a team.
You go
All right.
shove that right in
All right.
your Regina.
So
All right, let's talk about Canes and the Islanders.
that was
Canes
Canes
disappointing,
Isles.
too.
All right.
Again, Hartford is, they're always hanging around, but I don't see them going significantly further.
Well, the problem is they're dropping like flies. I mean, they lost most of their offense heading into the playoffs when you had Max Pacioretty blow out his Achilles again and Svechnikov blowing out his knee. And then you lost Teuvo Teravainen in the first round on a blatant slash that wasn't called.
Yeah.
Are they going to have enough scoring to move? I mean, because I think they've got the defense. I think the problem with the Isles in this series was that the Isles just don't know how to score.
Yeah.
They were
I mean,
just inept.
Until the third period.
Right.
Yeah.
They're a remarkable comeback team, but anyway.
But I was surprised that series went to 6, quite frankly. The Canes haven't really the fact that they were pushed as much as they were is surprising. I mean, that game could have gone to game 7.
It could have. But Ilya Sorokin just let in 2 atrocious overtime goals.
Yeah.
Well, just stunning. As good as he's played. Problem with Ilya Sorokin is that his team doesn't get the puck out of their zone that well. And they're having to play defense. They're a defense first system, which makes him look better, but he's also a really good goaltender. But they're going to have to next season. Are they going to be able to change their system so that they can score more? Because I mean, you've got weapons there. You got Barzal. You've got Bo Horvat. Why are you wasting them on a 1999 Devils trap team? I mean, that's just how it's awful watching Islanders games.
Yeah. I don't know. It is.
I'm waiting for Tom Mann to.
Yeah, I'm surprised he hasn't
Yeah.
chimed in yet. He's probably not watching, but I think that I think Carolina probably goes down in the next series. It just doesn't seem. It doesn't seem to me that they will, be able to put it together for a second series.
So who's coaching? Rod Brindamore, or who's the coach in Carolina?
Rod Brindamore. Yeah. Rod the Bod.
Yeah. The guy won a Stanley Cup in Carolina, and coaching is so important. I would not sell them out just yet. Carolina has won a Stanley Cup.
They have. I mean, the Devils aren't, wonderful, but I don't know. I'm not feeling it for Carolina. It may be because you know what? I hate all the stalls.
Why?
All of them.
All of them, Mark. Even
Just
Mark,
because they're blonde doesn't mean you have to hate them.
Right. Well, and there's also the redhead on Florida.
Yeah, Mark Stahl.
Mark Stahl. Yeah.
Mark. Okay. Yeah. He's not as good, but
I hate them all. I hate all the stalls.
why?
And,
For what reason?
well, first of all, it sounds like a place where you'd go to the bathroom. Secondly,
It is a place where you go to the bathroom.
or keep a horse. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why. I've always disliked the entire family. And so.
So do you like? Okay. Do you dislike all hockey families? Do you
No.
like?
No, in fact, the
Sutters?
Chucks.
I was going to say Sutters. Do you?
Kachucks.
I don't know.
I hate Kachucks. I mean, I like I like Keith Kachuk.
Yeah,
His kids.
Okay, Kachucks. Yeah.
I like all
Kachucks.
the Kachucks. I like his dad. I like the sister. She's a great field hockey player.
We dated in high school.
No,
No.
you're not that young. But
The Granados, yeah.
Granados, right?
Oh,
And,
nice. Granados. Perfect, John.
Yeah, good call. And
I'm appreciating the Buffalo from John.
right. Well, she's right. She was the hockey goalie too, right? For the Olympic team. Granado's sister.
Who?
No, Cami Granado. She was a forward for.
Yeah.
So then who was the goalie? Because that's also a hockey family.
Gosh, if only there was some universal electronic source of knowledge we could
Like a worldwide knowledge base. We'll call it the WWKB.
Yes.
Sounds good. I'll get right on that.
I think maybe it was Luongo.
Oh yeah, the Felinos as well. Marcus and Nick and Dad.
Well, and actually, I mean Bertuzzi, right? Bertuzzi's dad.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, Todd Bertuzzi? Which Bertuzzi?
Yeah, Todd.
Bertuzzi, yeah.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. Well, I don't hate all hockey families. I just hate the stalls, and as a result, Carolina. And
But you don't have a reason yet.
well, so first of all, they should be the Whalers. That's a good reason, right? If you're taking a team
Teams
away from-
move. They should be the
away
Thrashers
from
or the
Connecticut. But
Jets.
then-
What do you want?
You know what? Carolina is not a place that should have a team called the Hurricanes. New Orleans should have a team called the Hurricanes.
Yeah, that was interesting choice for a franchise name in Carolina. I mean, Carolina does have hurricanes.
They
Does
do
have,
get hit occasionally by hurricanes, but the team doesn't play on the coast either.
yeah.
So it's just I don't know. Everything about that franchise is terrible.
Although the
And they're
original
in the
logo,
bad Carolina.
well, the original logo, which had the two flags on it,
Right.
actually was not a hurricane warning. It was a storm warning, which is
Wait,
why
so
I
the
think
red
they're
background with the black
they,
dot is not a hurricane warning?
Only if there's one.
one, two
Oh,
means a storm warning.
yeah,
Right.
interesting.
Yeah. Or
Well,
it's
what do you want? They're from Carolina. They're all stupid.
Yeah. Anybody who makes barbecue with vinegar is just that's ridiculous.
No. Vinegar barbecue is amazing.
Yes, it
Not
is.
hockey related, but it is amazing.
I've got.
Oh, you just
we lost
dropped out.
it. Wow. No, vinegar barbecue is really good. I got a good sauce I can give you, Dan. Called Green Lantern barbecue sauce.
All right. So that's where I feel. Stars eliminate the Wild. The Stars are one of those teams that when Jeremy got hot on them, I was pretty hot on the Stars as well. I do occasionally think to myself that, when northern teams lose teams to big southern teams and then really rub their face in it by essentially keeping the name, that's like if they'd renamed the Stars something else.
Well, it fits. I mean, it was
Because the
North
Cowboys
Stars
and
and
all that stuff. Yeah, I get it. But I
Lone
mean,
Star
from the North
State. Yeah.
Stars to the Stars, I mean, they shouldn't call it the Southern Stars because that's all clanny. But
No, that's Australia. But I mean, so Mike Modano came down with the North Stars,
Yeah,
and
I
a
know.
good portion of the team. In fact, what's that dude that was on the Miracle on Ice? He came down with the team too.
Yeah, Neil Broughton.
Neil Broughton, thank you. So like most of the team was intact. So why not keep?
Yeah. No, it's not terrible. So I would like to see the Stars do well. I don't have a problem with them going, but for the Stars to eliminate their old state, that's also particularly sweet.
Yeah,
It's always been a huge rivalry.
Right.
I mean, when I had season tickets to the Stars, every time the Wild came to town, the crowd was friggin' going nuts. We all knew this was a major rivalry, which is odd because like you wouldn't think of like Dallas, Minnesota as like a major rivalry. Like, okay,
it's
rivalry.
It's like Cleveland and
New York,
and
New York,
Baltimore.
Boston. That is a classic rivalry. I
But
mean,
it's
there
like
are
Cleveland
some
and
classic
Baltimore in
rivalries.
football.
Well, Boston, Montreal.
Boston, Montreal.
But I mean, the interesting thing about it is that the Dallas Wild, the Star Wild thing, that's the I-35 rivalry.
Sure.
So
Sure.
I'm pretty sure there's no other hockey team on I-35.
No, I mean to me, it's more like the Baltimore and Cleveland rivalry in football because the Browns moved to Baltimore to become the Ravens.
Yeah.
But with this series, the Wild are continuing to pay the price for their previous financial decisions. So guys like Zach Parise, Ryan Suter, who was actually playing for the Stars in this series, and played rather well, is still getting paid by the Minnesota Wild.
Really?
Yeah,
the
you
buyout.
take that. You take that. And you like it.
He counts against their cap. So the way that compliance buyouts work is that they take the money, you pay half the money over twice the length of the remaining contract.
Interesting. I will say that, I like Tyler Seguin. I was sad to see him leave the Bruins, even though he did need to go. It's a rare thing where a trade like that is actually better for both parties, but Tyler needed to grow up, and being traded away from the Bruins made him realize you're not all that, but you can be a really, really good player in this league. And so I like to see him playing well. If the Stars were to be in the Stanley Cup, I would probably root for them over anybody else left in the playoffs.
Yeah, I would agree.
I've learned to forgive and forget, and I'm okay with the Stars now. I mean, I like Jake Ottinger. I really do like him as a goaltender. I love Robertson. Nathan Robertson. the new young scoring phenom for the Stars.
Oh yeah. Let me Google that for you.
I would, but it'd probably take my system down right now.
Nate Robertson sounds familiar. Yeah.
But anyway, they've got a good team. Again, does the Kraken provide a matchup that for that series? And we'll go ahead and start talking about the series
Yeah.
that we're in right now. So the Kraken versus the Storm. Does that that matchup provide problems for the Stars? I mean, you gave up a 4-goal effort from Pavelski.
Yeah.
And then
At least.
on a stinky goal in overtime. I mean, that was kind of
Yeah, it was
really
it was definitely a stinky goal, but I can tell you this: if you're relying on all your goal scoring from a single player, you are not going to win. You can't have 4 goals from one guy and expect to win the game. I mean,
well, you
okay,
should. I mean, defensively, you should.
You know, I mean, sometimes the guy's hot though.
Yeah.
But you're right. It would be nice if somebody else did something.
Yeah.
I mean, they weren't playing terribly.
No, I wouldn't say that.
It's
But
Jason Robertson. That's who it was.
Who was it?
Jason Robertson.
Oh,
Jason Robertson. There, yeah. No, I think that, I mean, obviously, if Dallas is going to come through this series, someone else besides Pavelski is going to have to score.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
sorry.
they didn't have a problem in the first round because I mean, Pavelski got knocked out. I mean, literally knocked out of the first game.
Yeah.
And they were able to win that series. Who's
Yeah.
going to step up? It's going to be Robertson. Is it going to be Dadonov had actually a pretty good series against the who's a very enigmatic player. Who do you get from game to game on if getting Dadonov? But if you can get scoring from Robertson, Dadonov, on the back end, Heiskanen. I think the Dallas can overcome the game 1 loss.
yeah.
Sorry, I'm just looking up the word enigmatic real quick.
Yeah, for sure.
That means good. Yeah.
It means like an egg.
Yes.
It's a way of automatically cooking an egg. The enigmatic.
Oh my God! Wow, it's a Dan joke.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, for sure, Dallas can't come back, but it's an emotional thing for them. I mean, they have to win game 2 because if they don't win game 2, they're done. I think if they don't win game 2, they're going to be in danger of being swept.
Okay, bear in mind, the Kraken are not great at home.
Yeah.
So it is entirely possible that Dallas could go to Seattle and win both games.
I mean, that's what happened in the Devils and Rangers series. That
Exactly correct. Although that's a weird series because no one really has home field advantage. Like no one has home ice.
Well,
Devils,
Rangers had home ice in all 7 games. When you think about it, they
that's definitely true.
Yeah.
And they still lost.
Yeah.
But
we didn't talk about that series. Do you think Kane and Tarasenko resign in New York?
Oh, that's
either one of them.
I don't know. I don't know.
So, interestingly enough, looking at the line here, the money line is the Stars negative 220. So that's pretty crazy. And 180 for Seattle. So you could do.
It's not crazy considering they lost game 1. And now they have something like they've got a really super fight. So
teams don't generally lose 2 in a row, but there's a strategy that we've been using. So if I put these 2 together, I pair them and I say, okay, I think that because in hockey the points thing is kind of weird because they never give you a half point to just bet the winner, but usually, there's a chance for an empty net goal in a 1 goal game. And so you don't see as many 1 goal games as you would expect in hockey. So in this case, just hypothetically, I got $30 here because the Bruins sucked everything out of me. I've got $20 to win here, but also on the Kraken, I could take $10 and almost offset it So then the only way I lose money is if the Stars win by 1 goal.
Which happens.
It does happen,
It does
especially
happen.
in overtime. But
The
but it
playoffs
never happened in the Bruins series. And in fact, the reason that that I have money left in my DraftKings account is because I had been hedging there. But games 5 and 6, I'm like, the Bruins are just going to win. I'm not even going to make the hedge bet on Florida in game 5 and 6. And so I bet big on both of them, which is why I shouldn't be betting as much as I do.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is the nature of the beast. But
Yeah.
Well, never bet money you can't afford to lose.
I'm going to bet this right now. So if the Stars don't win by one
goal, then you're in the money.
Yeah,
There you go.
and here I am.
Kind of in the money. I mean, you're not like Scrooge
High
McDuck
roller.
money.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
not high
in an
roller.
ideal world, right? The Stars win. I take home $44, and I will have lost $10 on the thing. So
Well, la-di-da, you should take me out to dinner.
well, when you come visit me, I will.
Okay.
All right. What are the
Yeah,
others?
game tonight actually is going on, and it's 2-1 in favor of Toronto right now. But we got the Panthers and Leafs game has started already. Game 1 was 4-2 in favor of the Panthers. As we saw in the Boston series, the Panthers really are just that forecheck has really messed with the Toronto Maple Leafs. They did not look
Well, and
like
the
a team
Panthers
that's
are
gonna do
probably
well at
pretty
all.
hot right now. So
What's that?
interesting. The Panthers are probably full of confidence right now too. One of the interesting things I heard was that after Game 5, when they won, Kachuk said to all the guys, he's like, "I want everybody to leave something here in the locker room because we are coming back for Game 7."
Oh, I love that.
Nice.
That's amazing.
That's ballsy right there.
Yep.
That is ballsy.
Right.
That would make me skate super hard.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like you leave your wedding ring there. So.
Yeah. Oh my God, my wife is going to kill me if I don't score a goal.
Yeah.
Right. So interestingly enough, right now, if you wanted to, the live betting, and live betting is what it is, but 461 on the Panthers. That's a pretty good
Wait,
bet.
460 minus 461?
Plus 461 on the money line.
Oh.
So right now, if I were to do this, the problem with live betting is you lose on a draw if it goes to overtime. So this is saying that the Panthers would win out
Straight up.
straight up.
Okay.
Yeah, so on DraftKings, it goes through overtime. Whoever wins.
Interesting.
Yeah, so if you bet on the money line on DraftKings, it goes through overtime. Whoever is the winner is the winner.
Even for live betting?
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep. Live betting too. So live betting, second period, you feel like you want to bet on the Panthers, it goes through overtime.
Well, I mean, this is interesting, right? Like $5 to win $23. That's not a terrible bet.
No, not. I mean,
But
this early in the game, it's
are the Panthers going
1.
to come back? And I have to go. I can't go into overtime, so I'm not going to do it.
Okay. And the Panthers played a lot of overtime, so.
They did. All right, let me turn that off.
But yeah, I mean, I'm hopeful. See, I always support Operation Leaf Blower every year when it comes to the playoffs.
Nice.
Waiting for every Canadian team to get eliminated, so it still remains the 1993 Montreal Canadiens as the last Canadian team to win a Stanley Cup title. So we are now down to 2 Canadian teams, and Edmonton lost first game, so we'll talk about that here. Edmonton versus the Golden Knights. Another Western Conference series where a team blew a 4-goal effort from their player.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate. I mean,
watching that game, I thought Vegas was full value for the win. I thought that they were the better team.
they played great.
Edmonton had their moments, but I think, interestingly enough, I mean, I love Connor McDavid. I think he's a phenomenal player, but I thought he tried to rag the puck too much. Like he was just trying to do the highlight reel goal the entire game, like just holding on, and you weren't getting it to the guy that was scoring the goals.
Yep. Hey, John, I feel your pain about not being able to bet in Florida, but you can with betus.com.pa. I've been betting with them for 20 years,
Oh, wow.
and it's a good alternative to DraftKings. Many times the odds are better.
They're equally illegal in all states.
Well, no, DraftKings is legal in the states where it's legal.
No, I thought you were talking about US Bet.
Oh, no, Betus, yeah, it's
Yeah, Bet Us.
exactly. It's equally illegal in all states, but yeah, exactly. Well, it's funny you say that because I actually could send you a referral, but it's only worthwhile if you're going to deposit more than $300, which I wouldn't advise you to do.
And remember, this is
Oh, for
not
fuck's
gambling
sake,
advice.
come on.
This is not
Sorry.
gambling advice. Don't bet because of something we tell you, because you got to make your own decisions.
Well, Dave will reimburse people in their first round of losses.
Oh no, you can call me, and I'll be a friendly ear to listen to while you cry about your losses.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not going to pay for anything.
All right, so
Broke, man.
but I tell you what, though, it does. I don't think the Oilers drop 2 in a row. Just doesn't seem likely to me.
I don't know.
So you would bet the farm.
I wouldn't bet the farm, but I'd bet somebody else's farm.
Oh, yeah.
I have a farm.
First rule of government.
Yeah.
No, I would say that.
I'll be right back. Room services here.
Yep.
There you
Go ahead.
I will tell you that I think I really do think that the Edmonton Oilers are in trouble in this series. I think their historical issue with defense. The question with the Oilers is always, can their offense outscore their defense? And they come back and they tie it up with that Draisaitl power play goal at 4, and within a minute it's 6-4. Like they just could not hold the Golden Knights. And I think that Jack Eichel is going to take this series as kind of a personal challenge because it's his first playoff matchup against Connor McDavid, who was second overall pick too. There's always been that kind of rivalry between them. So
Yeah, but there's no competition.
there's no competition at all.
Yeah.
But if Jack Eichel can take his first playoff series versus Connor McDavid, there's a little bit of bragging rights there for him.
Yeah. Hey, Jasper, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in.
What's up, Jasper?
Yeah, he says, nice Bruins jersey. He means me.
Yeah, I'm wearing a nice Crown Royal jersey.
Nice.
My friend used to do bar stuff for Crown Royal, and he contacted me. He goes, "Dude, I got a 3X jersey at Crown Royal. Do you want one?" I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Give me $50." I was like, "Yep, there we go."
Nice. So, yeah, I mean, I agree that Vegas is a better team overall, but I think great players rise to the occasion. I really do believe Connor McDavid is.
He's going to have a better game in game 2.
Well, he's got to. It's not just that he has to have a better game. He actually has to find a way to elevate his teammates. That's the crisper. All right. Hey, Jasper. Sorry. Nice. I like the Marchand t-shirt. You know what? If you're wearing a Marchand t-shirt right now, go out, take a stick, and poke somebody else just walking down the street.
Nice.
Actually, I saw something on TikTok. There was a story this lady was telling about this nightmare customer that she had as at a furniture store. Refused to pick up this piece of furniture that she paid for and got mad at her manager and all this stuff. And she goes, so we had it sitting off to the side. The next day, Brad Marchand, she goes, some Bruins player comes into my store, and one of the guys like, that dude plays with the Bruins, and she had no idea. And so he was like, hey, what's with this couch right here? And they were like, yeah, just somebody just brought it back. I'll take it. Brought it right off her. Bought like $26,000 worth of furniture.
Wow, that's nice.
Yeah. I still had Brad Marchand, but that's a different story. And then the final series we have is the Devils and Hurricanes.
It feels like the Hurricanes have got it. I mean, that was a
Well, I mean, remember the Devils game 1 against the Rangers lost 5-1. Didn't look like they belonged in that series at all.
right.
Also, Daniel, I would like to remind you about 30 minutes ago when you said the Canes were going to lose.
All right. Well, no, yeah. Sorry, and that was where I wanted to send. I said that the Canes, I don't like them. I want them to lose.
Oh, I misunderstood.
That's a different thing. All right.
And it's because of the stalls, but New Jersey is kind of I don't know.
I got a soft spot for New Jersey because it's Lindy Ruff. The only thing with Lindy,
I went to Rutgers. I have a soft spot for New Jersey.
No. Hey, Jasper, I love Brad Marchand. I would hate him if he were on any other team.
No, I'm the one.
Oh,
who
you
hates
hate Brad Marchand. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
that's because I'm a Sabres fan.
Dave also has expressed disgust for Santa Claus. So
That's true.
That's just where he is.
That bastard likes to have kids on his lap. That's sketch. That is sketch.
Sketch.
He doesn't exist, right? Am I bursting any bubbles here, or
what?
Oh no, I'm so
Shun the
sorry.
denier.
Okay.
Shun the
It's okay.
non-believer.
It's okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I tell you what, though, I might watch the Carolina game, just because there's nothing else on. It's 8:00.
It's not an exciting series whatsoever,
Dude.
I mean, they're just too.
Get Apple TV. Watch Ted Lasso.
Is that like about rodeos?
No. Watch.
I'm totally kidding. I watched season 1 and 2.
Watch Letterkenny.
Yeah. That I've heard is good. I just finished. I tend to like the monthly services. Wait until their hot movie is over. So I just finished Paramount watching the end of Picard, which was really good. And so
it was very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, especially the hockey.
The what?
The hockey. They played a hockey game on the holodeck.
Oh yeah.
On the holodeck. Wow.
No. On the holoback deck. All right.
It ain't no holoback deck.
That joke is probably a sign of me wrapping it up. And my brother being in the robe is also a problem. So
I'm about to get in the hot tub. There's a hot tub in the room. Look,
hot tub.
There's a hot tub in the room.
It is, Jeremy. We appreciate you while you're on vacation tuning into the show.
Yeah, man. I really appreciate
what vacation. I'm working.
While you're working on vacation in a hotel in a casino.
All true.
I need that work. But yeah, I appreciate you both joining us. The only other piece of news that I wanted to talk about was with your Colorado Avalanche, Andrew Cogliano breaking his neck in Game 6.
I don't want to talk about it.
That was I can't believe that Jordan Eberle did not get supplemental discipline for that, because that was a clear boarding. He ended up injuring the player. Yeah, he came back in the game because he's a hockey player.
Well, and there was no blood.
Which doesn't matter. You broke the dude's neck.
I have always thought that the blood rule is the stupidest rule of all.
Oh, and the high sticking stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. That it's like an extra penalty if you get blood. But it is.
It was just a fracture. It wasn't a full broken. Like he didn't like behind him go snap.
Exactly. He did return to the ice.
It's like what happened to Jack Eichel.
Yeah. Eichel.
I mean, I don't think there was intent.
Well, there's never intent to break somebody's neck, but you hit him from behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so and that
and if McCarr got a game for hitting McCann late.
So and I will say too that if we're gonna circle back around that thing, intent and grudges that I hold, I will still never forgive Toronto for Ty Domi. So, there's that too.
Ty Domi, that was like 15 years ago.
Yep. Although Ty Domi sucker punching Wolf Samuelson was I'll give him that one.
He's yeah. I don't know. But I mean, to be fair, the Bruins,
although I love Ufi's son on my team. So.
I was gonna say, if they want to bitch about Marty McSorley, that's a pretty low point in hockey as well.
Oh yeah.
But
All right, y'all. Thanks very much for joining us this week.
thanks for tuning in.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh yeah.
See you around.
All right. Bye. I'm
Bye,
Mark.
everybody. Have a good weekend. And we'll
Dave,
talk
tell
to you next
everybody
time
to
on the show.
subscribe, hit the buttons.
Yeah, hit all the buttons. If you're on TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, like, share, subscribe.
You know, if you guys go back and review the comments, the very first comment that came in was if you could choose any celebrity you see to get tickled, who would it be? If you guys press that like button, it tickles Dave.
It
So
does.
please do that. Press the like button.
And
Whether
put a
you're on
comment in there and
Facebook,
say, I want to tickle Dave.
subscribe in all the various places, and let's make this. Right now, we are currently the third most popular hockey show on Thursday night on YouTube. We'd like to move up to second. So help us out, guys.
Number 2.
Peace.
Yeah, have a good one, everyone. We'll talk to y'all next week.